Well, Mr. President, dear faculty, first of all, thank you for having me here. It's an honor. And it all began a few days ago when you were in Doha and we had a meeting and you asked me and you invited me kindly to come to Georgetown. And it was an honor. But I didn't realize that I'm going to be facing in front of me students and faculty, so it's not easy. So I need your help, if there are any questions. But really, it's an honor for me. I'm very happy to be here. Let me just begin by saying, congratulations to all of us that Georgetown has been in Doha now for 10 years. We all know how important this prestigious university being in the region in the Middle East. But we realize how important it is when we see our students graduating from there and trying and playing a bigger role in my country and also in the region. I'm sure some of the students here, we're going to see them having high positions either in this country or back in their country. So I think, as you said, Mr. President, I've been Emir now since 2013. Our region isn't stable. We have a lot of problems happening around us. Thanks to God that Qatar and the Gulf region is stable countries. It doesn't mean that we should sit back and be relaxed. We have to do lots of works, lots of reforms, and to try and solve problems around us. I've been in this position 2013. It wasn't, thanks to my father, I had lots of advice, lots of help from him. Still, it was very difficult to be dealing with all those issues. I became Emir just 3 or 4 days before what happened in Egypt, the 30th of June. And I had to deal with the situation, not me only, but I was one of the countries, one of the leaders that had to deal with the situation to try to find solution in Egypt. It was very difficult. Unfortunately, I tried my best. I wasn't successful. There are reasons for that. But, I was supposed to have a speech and talk to you on a speech, but I decided, I'll just let it go easy like that. It's much easier for me, and I think it's easier for you to, if you have any questions. I don't want to take much of your time talking, boring you with what I did. I know that some of you have questions to ask me, but let us, since we are in a university, in a very important university, I think if we can concentrate on the importance and the role of the youth in our region, and it will be very, very important because they were the youth that played the most important role in the Arab Spring. And believe me, some of them, many of them, I was surprised when I met them after the revolution from different parts of the countries that stood up against dictatorship. They are very intelligent, they are very clever, and they have a great vision for the future. So we should try to talk about this and how we can help them in the future. So I don't know if I should say anything, but I will be expecting questions from you. So thank you very much, Mr. President. And say it again, I'm very honored to be sitting in front of you here. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
أشكرك جزيل الشكر.
We have been able to pull some questions from the
لقد
audience.
تمكنا من الحصول على بعض الأسئلة من الحضور، لكن دعني أولا أتحدث عن زيارتك الأولى بصفتك أميرا. أخبرنا عن اجتماعك مع الرئيس أوباما وكيف جرى الحوار. كيف ترى أهمية العلاقة التي تربط بلدك بالولايات المتحدة؟
It was a nice meeting. He was very easygoing, and which it's a personality that I like and I get along very, very quickly. I think it was a very good meeting with all the officials here in DC. It's a very important visit for me, first visit for me in my position. We have a strategic relation with America. People talk a lot about military security, but there's something very important that we should talk about and we should also promote more, is the educational relationship we have with America. We have of course, Georgetown and 5 other great American universities in Doha with other institutes as well. But overall, the meetings went very well. We had a lot to discuss. Honestly speaking, we were discussing mainly about the region problem because the region is in turbulence with all the terrorist movements and dictatorship and some war and the war in Syria and Iraq and what the situation in Yemen as well. We were discussing mainly about those countries. We spoke briefly about how important the relation is between both countries. But overall, I think the meeting went very well.
So President Obama is not the first head of state you've been with in recent days. Shortly before your visit here to the United States, you were in Saudi Arabia.
فقبل ذلك كنت في المملكة العربية السعودية وقابلت الملك سلمان. هل أخبرتنا عن ذلك الاجتماع وكيف فهمت طبيعة العلاقات بين بلدك والمملكة العربية السعودية؟
For us, as a small country in the Gulf, Saudi Arabia is the most important country to have a relation with. We had a historic relationship with Saudi Arabia, very strong relationship with Saudi Arabia, and it is still strong and it will always be strong. And I will make sure that the relation stays strong with Saudi Arabia. We all know that there's a big pressure on Saudi Arabia with what's going on around the region, that Saudi Arabia is a big country and they can handle this pressure, and it's their role to try to solve problems around the region. And I'm confident that King Salman and the people aiding him as well, especially the second generation aiding him, I'm confident that they will do a good job and they'll do, at least I know that they'll do their best. But it's up to us as well to help them, for them to stabilize the region. They have a big task ahead of them. It's not going to be easy, and it's not easy to be successful with what's going on. But the meeting went very well, and I'm confident that King Salman will help to stabilize the region. But it's going to be very difficult.
Place your country's recent growth and development.
باعتبار النمو الذي يحصل عليه بلدك تحت حكم أبيك، لكن كما قلت لعبتم دورا كبيرا خلال العقدين الماضيين. حدثنا عن هذا العقد الأخير وكيف فهمتم طبيعة ومسؤوليتكم في المنطقة.
First of all, we start off what we did internally, the reforms that we did internally. We concentrated a lot on education. We believe that education is a thing that we should invest in. So that is why we invited 6 of the best American universities in Doha, and also we did lots of reforms in our education system in Qatar. We have a great Qatar university. We improved it a lot. It's been always strong, but we did, we had to improve a lot in it. We had to do, we did a lot of reforms in our country. If you go back 15 years ago, we first started with the election, the municipality election. It was a big thing in our country, and it went well. It's still going. We have also other things to be done as well. One of them is the elected Majlis al-Shura, which is a parliament, and hopefully is going to be very soon. There are just some legal issues and logistic issues to be dealt with, but we are committed to do what's better for our country. My father did a lot for the country. Of course, I'm not my father. Even if I try to be like my father, I cannot be like my father. I should take all the advantages that my father did and try to add in them as well. And as I said, everybody is different. But my father did a great job for his country and for the region, and I am very proud of, and our country is very proud of.
أحد التحديات المتعلقة بالحكم هو أن هناك بعض القضايا على المدى القصير وهناك بعض القضايا على المدى الطويل التي تتعلق بها التنمية والتي يجب أن تحظى بالاهتمام. كيف تفرقون حاليا بين تحديات الراهنة على المدى القصير وكيف تحدث التوازن بينها وبين الأسئلة التي موجودة على المدى الطويل والتي يواجهها بلدكم؟
That we should address the security. Security is very important. We have economical challenges, we have many challenges, but I think the security due to what's going on around our region. We say we're stable, yes, we are a stable country, but what happens in Yemen, in Egypt, in Syria, in Iraq, it affects us way or another. And the longer it takes, the more effect that we're going to be affected by. There's something very interesting that we are working on very, very hard, and we know that it's going to be a great challenge, is depending on the oil for our income. This has been a challenge. If we go back just 100 years ago, more or less 100 years ago, our country and the country around us were depending on selling the pearl. But after the pearl planting came, and our Japanese friend found this new system, we were broke. So we were in trouble. Now, when the oil came, we started breathing again. We are, in the 70s, we faced a big drop of oil prices. We were only depending on oil. The same thing happened in the 80s and the 90s, and now also the drop of the oil prices. Yes, we are a rich country, but we have to see what we did to be in this level. In mid-90s, when my father first took over, the oil price was so low, how much was it? $8. And, we were in trouble finding money to pay salaries. People don't think that, we are, a rich country. No, we had our difficult moments. But the way how to challenge them now is how to have other resources than the oil price. We know that one day that we will not be depending on oil and gas. When? I hope it's going to be long, but I don't know when it's going to be. But we have to be depending on other things. And one of the main things that we're doing is we're investing. We're having a lot of investment, and to make sure that things go all right. As I said, the main investment we did was in education. And this is the challenge, and these are the youth that in the future will be running the country and will make sure that our economy stays stable.
When you arrived
عندما وصلت في مطلع هذا الأسبوع كان لديك مقال في نيويورك تايمز تحدث فيها عن أسباب الإرهاب ويتعلق باليأس بين الشباب. كيف ترى تمكين الشباب في المنطقة؟ الآن أعتقد أن هناك 100 مليون شاب بين العمر 15 إلى 29 سنة في العالم العربي. كيف تمكن الشباب وكيف ترى نفسك وبلدك بصفتك جزء من الحل لهؤلاء الشباب؟
When I talk about things, I like giving examples, to make things easier for everybody to understand. When we go back a few years ago, when the Arab Spring started, if you think of it and go back 4 years, you didn't hear any terrorist attacks, any terrorist movements. Everything was quiet. All those youth, they had, they saw the future. They had ambitions. They thought that they're going to have a better future when they did when they started this Arab Spring. Now, the problem that we're facing now is the counter-revolution. We call it a counter-revolution. People call it other names, but we call it counter-revolution. Now, if those youth, we don't give them a chance in participating and sharing power, because this is what they wanted. They wanted dignity and freedom. If we don't make them participate and put them in jail or no jobs, this is what I call hopeless. They will be looking for other things. Now, going back to giving examples, some of the youth that stood up against leaders, dictators,